Brought to you by Trajan Wealth and Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It is Texas Rangers manager Skip Schumaker. Good afternoon, sir.
What's up? How's it going? You guys doing all right?
Well, after a win,
Yes,
it feels like everything is good. And one of the things I wanted to know is whether it's because of the offense or just the aesthetics of baseball, do you have a preference on having that roof open?
I like it both. Honestly, the controlled climate in the middle of the summer is a real thing. I was obviously played in the old Texas Ranger Stadium in the middle of August, and that was not easy to play in. So I do love it for that reason. But anytime you can have the roof open, outdoors playing baseball, it's a beautiful stadium. With it closed, but with it open, it's pretty incredible. So the more open we can have, times that it's open we can have, the better off, I think.
Since you were talking about the old Ranger Stadium, do you think that after, let's say, May, if somebody invited you to that Sunday 2 p.m. game at the old stadium, they weren't actually your friend, they were your enemy?
Rod Barajas, who's our quality control coach here, he caught a lot of those day games in the middle of August, and he's told me some stories that are uncomfortable, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's again, we're happy that we have the option.
What the lots of IVs I presume were needed in those times for sure. What was the mindset and how successful did you feel saying, Jock, you're leading off for us tonight?
We put together, the lineup construction post game every day and trying to figure out exactly, how to navigate, the best way possible for our offense to click, but also potentially to make it challenging on the opposing manager. We've thought about a number of different ways to, are we just going to beat the starter today? Are we going to try to, make it difficult on the bullpen if they have a bullpen game on the other side? So there's a lot that goes into it. We have, our analytic group helps us out along with our coaching staff. So it's a collaboration to figure this thing out. But honestly, Jock being at the top kind of was a conversation I had with Brandon Nimmo the night before, of just trying to think of different ways to kind of mix things up to try to get more runs, especially here at home. And, we've been struggling scoring runs in general, but definitely at home. And so, maybe getting Jock at the top, might spark something for, everybody else. And Jock's had a really good homestand. So that was kind of the thought behind it. Brandon was on board with it, talking with our staff, they thought it was a good idea. So we went with it. And, you look good when Jock hits a home run, right? The lead off
on the second pitch, yeah.
Yeah. So that obviously doesn't always happen, but it was a good day yesterday for everybody.
And I know Brandon Nimmo will probably tell all of us that he's always fine, but how is he doing, and is he going to be good to go for today?
Yeah, he woke up feeling good. So, we'll see when he comes in, make sure our medical staff is comfortable, kind of moving forward and, see what his progression looks like, when he gets in the cages and, rides a bike or whatever he needs to do to get the thing loose. But so far, so good. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, we dodged a bullet.
I didn't get enough camera shots over to you after he had kind of stepped had the funky step there. Were you just staring at him and going, no, I need you to look at me and tell me? How was that communication? Because it kind of kept looking like he kept going, I'm fine.
Yeah, initially when he, went, came to the stadium yesterday, he told me it's the first day that he has felt 100% regarding the hamstring. Oh. So we're like, all right, perfect. Here we go. He's like, yeah, I can go to first to third. I can steal a base. Like, go ahead and let me go. I said, great. Awesome. And then of course that happens. Right. So, and then so initially I thought it was the hamstring. And so that, cause I didn't see him hit the bag or hit the top of the foot from the first baseman. So I didn't know what it was until I got out there.
Gotcha.
So then and when we were having the conversation, he told me, that he was good and to get off the field. So I got off the field, and so that shows you what kind of gamer he is. Then I saw him kind of jogging after a fly ball to the left and knew it wasn't right. So it wasn't any reason to push it up, I think 6 runs at the time. So got him off and hopefully got him off in time where he, got some treatment and feels good enough to play today.
Would you anticipate maybe Seager having the day off today or Friday, and would that be contingent at all on Nimmo?
So we have Seager's going to play. He's in the lineup today. I talked to Corey every day, and he's as far as where he's at mentally and physically and everything, he's good. So I always feel that a guy like Corey is always close to breaking out, right? So and it means something when his name is in the lineup. As long as he feels physically and mentally good, we're good. So we have circled a day here coming up and see what that looks like. But there's always constant communication just in case he needs one before that. But Corey wants to play. He knows he's a big part of this group. And, when he goes, we're going to, be really good. And we always feel like he's one swing away.
We'll make references back to our first conversation, Skip, at spring training throughout the year. That's just how we are. But you did tell us that you wanted Zeke to kick the door down. Has he officially kicked door down? And what more is there for him right now?
Yeah, he's fun to watch, isn't he? Yes. He's doing everything that we have asked and more as far as playing multiple positions. By the way, at an elite level. So it's second base. It can be shortstop. It can be right field, left field. We even put him in center field. The other day, I had him catch a bullpen just in case another catcher went down, and we flipped catcher out late in the game to pinch run or something, emergency situation, and he looked like he could catch. So it was. He's been. Not only the spark plug in the clubhouse with the guys, the high energy, always the same guy, 0 for 4, 4 for 4, doesn't matter. He's going to give you everything he has. He loves to play the game. And I think that's what you have to look for in players when you are trying to identify who fits in our culture and who you root for is the guys that love to play baseball and love the grind. And he is definitely that guy. So it's been a pleasure to get to know him better, throughout the year so far. And yeah, it's an easy guy to fall in love with.
CY told us, I think it was opening day when we sat down with him, he was like, one of the things we were looking for is guys that know what their role is and how they can contribute. And obviously, I think at that moment he was talking about hitting in the lineup and in that order. That being said, he came in this season with his role being that utility kind of guy. Does his role stay that way and he's going to be that all season, or can he earn something else at some point?
Well, it feels like I'm starting him every day somewhere different. Yeah. So I guess you could say it's a utility role, but he's playing every day, right? Yeah. So he's been hard to take out of the lineup. He's been hitting righties better than lefties. So it's not really a platoon situation. He's been at the top of the lineup. He's been hitting sixth and doing well. So he's just, again, wants to play baseball wherever you put him. I feel comfortable at, and don't even hesitate. Like he's now could be our defensive replacement if he didn't start in the outfield or infield, right? So it's a luxury type of player to have, and lucky to have him on our roster.
I know this guy has far less experience, but when you talk about that, just happy to be playing baseball kind of vibe, is that what you get from Alejandro Osuna as well?
We do, yeah. We have a couple of these young guys that are just they can't wait to come to the stadium, and I think it's a breath of fresh air with some maybe veteran guys that are established and are coming in, and they love to play baseball as well. Don't get me wrong, but I've been a veteran before, and you come in and it's just you come to work every day, right? And to be excited to come to work is what you try to find with each guy to motivate them to be, having fun to come to work. I know it's a job, but having fun and finding joy coming to work every day. And these young guys do give, the entire clubhouse that feel and that vibe every day. There's always high energy because of those guys. And it helps the veteran guys as well, maybe at the, wherever they're at in their career, because, the veteran guys, they were young guys at one point too, and they probably had the high energy, type of feel when they came in. And so it's always good to have those type of players, come through the clubhouse.
Skip Schumaker joining us here on the K&C Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan, home of your Texas Rangers. I'm just kind of curious, and last time I asked a food-related question, you said you'll have to ask Jacob deGrom, but did you happen to notice if Mackenzie Gore ate anything different yesterday? Because that was special to watch.
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of things I look at, video wise, and trying to figure out how to get guys better. I don't dissect what they eat usually in the morning or in the afternoon. But whatever he did eat, hopefully he does the next time through in the next start. But yeah, he was, after a bullpen day, we needed some length. And, if McKenzie went 5 innings, we were going to be scrambling. So he went 8 innings. We really had Collier, Latz, and, a couple guys like emergency only and Quantrill, right? So that was the only guys really available. So when he gave us 8 innings and then our offense provided, some cushion, that was gigantic for us. But yeah, McKenzie's fastball execution was the best it's been this year. And then he had the curveball working. The changeup still is kind of a work in progress. The bullpen sessions have been amazing with the changeup, but in game it's kind of been hit or miss. He'll get that. I'm very confident that he'll get the feel of that. At next start maybe even. But the fact that he could go north and south with the fastball and then the curveball underneath it, made it really challenging for the D-backs.
Do you have to talk to him and say, hey, we need you today after a bullpen game, or he just understood?
Mackenzie Gore came in my office the day before when Evo had side discomfort and said, I can pitch today.
Love it.
So that shows you where he's at. He's a gamer. He wants the ball. He even told me that when DeGrom missed his start, the second start of the year, like, I'll take the ball if you need it. So that's the kind of guy Mackenzie is, gamer. He knows what's at stake. And so that's why you're always confident when he takes the mound.
What was that conversation, if at all, like after the 7th inning? Any hesitation to put him back out there? Because now you're getting in, closer to the career high territory of innings pitched.
For Mackenzie, you're saying?
Yeah,
like after the 8th inning? Yeah. I'm 95 pitches. I know he probably wanted to go CG. I totally appreciate that. But again, when we have a cushion and, 6-run lead, we felt pretty good about, taking the game. Now, it got a little dicey towards the end. But I think, you have to play the long game. And when you have a chance to take guys out, you do it, right? Because, you never know when you need that extra inning in a high leverage spot. And because you gave him that inning off maybe in May, you can push him a little bit more in August. So you always have to remember that of when you're navigating these games of like, okay, we feel good, like we have a really strong chance to win today. Right now in this point of the game, he did his job, 8 innings, 95 pitches. Let's give it to somebody else. And maybe, if he needs to push against whoever the next start is, then we've given him that cushion.
Is the thought right now still day-to-day on Evo with the hope that he can still start Sunday, or are there any other updates?
Yeah, well, he hasn't come in yet, but yesterday was a better day than it was the day before, which is a good sign. So once he comes in today and has catch play, he played catch yesterday, which was great news, right? He wasn't a full day off. So once he comes in today, has another day, potentially maybe even gets on the rubber just to feel it. I'll have to see what that looks like. And obviously our medical group and, we'll come together and see what the next steps are. But it was a good day yesterday. Hopefully we have a better day today.
Chris Martin, I know he got his first kind of rehab appearance yesterday. Considering how well the bullpen has been doing, they've been freaking amazing. Do you question bringing Martin or eventually when he's ready, Garcia back right now? Or does that maybe give them a little bit more time to ramp up to rejoin the big club?
Yeah, I think you want to make sure that they're ready to help us at the big league level, right? So, Chris and Garcia both have missed significant time, making sure that they feel good in their rehab starts to, or the rehab outings to make sure that they can come up here and help us win baseball games. So, I think you're going to see both guys get a couple outings to make sure they can go back to back. And so we're still a little bit away, I think. But you never know. I don't want to give that a timeline either. Cross your fingers that we're all healthy and everything's good. But yeah, so Chris Martin yesterday, his fastball, was good. He felt good. The split fingers where he gave up a couple home runs yesterday. So getting that right and where he wants it, because that's his pitch, the splitter and the cutter. When he gets that right and he feels good, I think that's when, we'll have the conversation.
You'd given Jake Berger a couple days off yesterday. He gets 3 hits. What do you tell a player going into that couple days off scenario? Do you want them to just relax, or what can they watch? What can they change? What can they learn? Like, what is that scenario like?
Yes, all of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's a lot of like, watching some video of, your best seasons, your highlight reels, remembering how good of a baseball player you are, and not just focus on all the negative stuff, right? In this job and, as a player, there's so much negative that like you can get consumed by one or the other. And so I want him to remember that he was a really good player. He still is a really good player. Watch those things of the, why you were a really good player, and then focus on that. Get back to that mentality. Get back to hitting the fastball because you used to crush the fastball. Let's get back to that. Sit back, watch the game, observe. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. It's the middle of May. A lot of games left, but I want you also to work. So in the mornings and the afternoons, like get with JV in our hitting group, get off traject, and start getting back to where you want to be and who you are, because we know you're a really good player. And then during the game, watch it. Take a deep breath. I'm not going to use you unless it's a high leverage against a lefty type of situation, which they only have one lefty in this bullpen here. So we just wanted to give him a little bit of a break, and he was, totally okay with it. I mean, he wanted to play, don't get me wrong, but he understood it. And then, got back, and it helped with JJ. It helped with Smitty as well, and Berger coming back with 3 hits. So some guys need a couple days off, and I think it's really beneficial for them.
Well, connected to that, and this will be the last thing for me here, Skip, is the Players Trust from MLBPA just announced that Jake Berger as the most valuable philanthropist honoree for May, granting him $10,000 for the Berger Family Foundation. In addition to what these guys do on the field, you got a crew of good dudes, and Jake Berger, we've gotten to know him pretty well and the work that he does. Your thoughts just kind of on those extracurriculars that go into being at this level?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jake is a phenomenal human being. You want to take the baseball side out of it. I know that's what we do, and that's, what we're paid to do is help win baseball games and be a really good teammate. But you also have a platform, and you have a limited time to use that platform at this level. You hope to play 10 years, right? It's like a 1% chance that you play 10 years in this game. So what are you going to do with this platform that you're given? Luckily, you look at what Corey Seager has done in this community, and look what Jacob deGrom and Evo, but Jake Berger, obviously has taken this to a new level. And, every road trip he's, visiting different facilities, with kids with Down syndrome, and is excited to do it and bringing other players along with them. And we had a group of guys go to visit kids with, cancer yesterday at the Child Life Hospital in Dallas. So we have an amazing group of human beings. CY and Ross have always identified really good people first to make sure they fit, what we want and be about in this organization. And, Jake Berger's at the top of the list. So I'm very proud of him for getting that achievement.
Yeah, appreciate all of that insight right there. 3 wins in the last 4 games. Good luck today and building up that winning streak. We'll catch up with you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for having me on.